according to history, they started to migrate from Central Asia and followed different routes. Some Turks came to the Caspian Sea and landed in Central Europe. They were the ancestors of the Han Turks. You might have heard about Attila the Hun. Some other Turkish tribes have come below the Caspian Sea and ended up in Asia Minor, which is the peninsula surrounded by the Black Sea, the Bosphorus, Sea of Marmara, Dardanelles, Aegean Sea, and the Mediterranean. You can see this here on a bigger scale. And at the section where you see the red paint, they founded the Ottoman Empire in the year 1299. That was the beginning of the Ottoman Empire. It was started by a man named Osman, O-S-M-A-N. So the empire was called as Osmanlı, English name, Ottoman. And then you see it expanding. The stripes with the dark pink shows the area ruled by the Ottoman Turks between the years, or conquered by the Turks between the years 1326-1481. Then they kept on expanding more. And the section where you see the light pink stripes was conquered between the years 1481-1699. There was a very famous movie made about
show a little trick, get down as low as you can and look up at it.
C'è il riflesso delle persone dietro della vetrata.
86 carats, surrounded by 49 somethings.
Sorry. That is just amazing.
looking across at Istanbul.
Bak Hazreti Yahya. Hazreti Yahya'nın şeyi bile bulmuş. İçli.
Dated 606.
It doesn't know whether it's focusing on the glass or the... With the lenses, they make pictures. For example, this one. Let's go.
They got the hair of Muhammad.
No, per dire che c'è un mese. Qui c'è un
That room I've just been in was the holy relics.
We're pretty close. I don't know.
This is a 600-year-old sport, and every year during the second week of June, all these wrestlers from all over Turkey come here for this contest. What they do is they cover themselves with oil and they wrestle. So it's sort of a early form of mud wrestling, I guess. Now we're going to be stopping by the mosque. The mosque you see directly ahead of us. This is the Mosque of Sultan Selim. It was built in 1569 to 1579, and it was designed by a famous Turkish architect named Sinan. And we will see his statue right up front of the mosque. It contains 999 windows, and you might ask, why 999 windows? Well, the architect originally wanted to put in 1,000, but the Sultan wanted to be different, so he knocked one out. Now the grounds have a library, a fountain, and a courtyard. There are 18 domes and 4 minarets. If you want to use the toilets, there are toilets in the courtyard. You just go into the big...
Here we are in Hopfgarten.
Take off your sunnies, pull the garbage...
And he told me that it's more than obvious how many times the number of cancer cases has increased. And I can also see by myself, because when I was studying medicine, for example, the first 2 years before the accident, I hardly knew anyone with cancer from my friends. I could see patients, but from my friends or relatives I had known. And now, well, I can tell you at least 15 now have at least 15 and different age. And you know, radioactivity is more dangerous for younger people because they're more, how to say, vulnerable to every house. Now, just one thing, I get as a doctor 220 lefts before paying the tax. Or let's say 220 is easy to calculate. A television, which is well, a good from South Korea, not big one, with the normal middle screen, let's say, is 2,500 left. So I have to work exactly 1 year and save all my salary to buy a television, the 40 seats. And they were very expensive, but it doesn't matter. 2,000 for a week in London. But anyway, people are ready to put on the bridge which we'll cross now. It is the so-called, oh no, well, it's never been such a thing before. Now, why this is closed? It is closed because there are many students who, this University of Sofia is here ahead of us, but we can't see it from here. I'll show it to you afterwards. And the students are making a strike because they are organizing this strike for about a week now.
Someone that you to a bigger ball than what they were. You're never sure until something else occurs. Commit a crime and draw a line between the things you want and things you need. Nothing grows until you.
It was only Alexander Nevsky, but now they call it Saint Alexander Nevsky. It was well, I decided to build this church in order to show the gratitude of our people to the Russians who declared a war on Turkey at the end of last century. And thanks to this war, Bulgaria was liberated from the 5-century-long Turkish domination. If you'd like, you can make a photograph of this.
Daniken, have you got your annual Christmas yellow around you or what?
Sorry.
This is Saint Sophia, the eternal flame dedicated to the unknown soldier.
You can tell me that back on the cage when I write my notes.
The Vardar River. If you look around, there's a lot of interesting architecture around here, as Yugoslavia is a very artistically progressive town.
There you go out of that, so it's turning that way.
This is Skopje, Yugoslavia. This is the railway station in Yugoslavia, where in the 27th of something 1963 an earthquake hit, devastated 80% of the city, and they left the railway station as it was for remembrance. And the clock that you previously saw on the beginning of the tape was stopped at 5:17, the time when the earthquake hit.
washing their clothes. Let's go along and try to fold it.
Last night I heard the screaming, loud voices behind the wall. Another sleepless night for me, won't do no good to call.
Did he use two hands?
Come on, friends,
David, what are you videoing, man? What scenery?
coastal area. Unfortunately, they're suffering quite a bit right now because there's a major pollution problem. What has happened? The algae to grow, algae being a green in Dubrovnik, as you can see the
It's nice, that's Aaron speaking. They're looking down on Dubrovnik.
You're going to have to get the top of your hand in the photo.
I just got it, yeah, what just got it out.
Yeah.
So I can get elbows in it. And then Campbell.
Did you get a map, mate?
Yes. So we figure out where we are. Yep. Here's the pest. Copy that. Yeah. So show you. All right.
Ich gehe nicht viel passen, aber nicht. Zu spät.
Mine's on my date, so they're like my birthday, all the photographs up to my birthday are dated.
So do you know I have not got
Marijuana,
one
I suppose.
photo of me on my birthday?
Oh no?
No.
That's alright, Ellie, I've got that. Hi there.
She didn't, well, the thing is that, like,
E to sam ti ja kada mislila da bude balkon. Rekao, imam balkon, imam ja terasa 50 kvadrata i gore lođa. I sad ko iđe?
Björn sitter du? Fortsätt Björn, så gör du i så fall så. Sen är det inte. Varsågod med ditt straff. Varför är det banan? Banan, det är dina berättelser.
It's a banana.
You are too.
I put my cheese in my bread.
Yeah. Will you stop filming, Alan? No. This is the outer wall of the palace in Split. Used to hold 25,000 people. Now it's mainly shopping centres.
Can we have this up a bit soon? Thanks, Sue. Oh, no, not like that. Okay. Take a drink off like that, yeah?
No, it's not much, but it's the best I can do. That music I hear, I get misty the moment you're near. You whoever dance in the way.
What shall he eat? It's good.
Pull on your nose.
Scotty.
It's there
It's just a blue picture.
No, it's all white, a white boat, it just has a white sail. It's all by itself.
The inside, swimmers used to have the right of way, and see, it's the kind of place where you can sit and have a coffee. It's one of the
This is the Lido Island. 40 minutes by boat from Venice.
Catamaran. That was a great ride, that was. Few of them didn't enjoy it on the way up, did they? Yeah. Feel like the penny balls real quick. I reckon it was rougher on the way back. It was. That was pretty rough on the way back.
This now, size, where they used to walk across and they used to kill them. Simple. And in Venice you have short canals, but this particular one is a far canal. Oh, no. Can't get away from it. Always put on your hand. It's chicken. There's three of us.
I saw that. Smile, Duncan, please.
Dentro
Hey, Bill.
Should be in the office. The first floor you find on the right side, you go upstairs, top floor you find the office. So it should be there. Hey.
Andrea? Yeah. You taking a photo?
Okay, now if you follow me slowly upstairs and we'll sit down, okay, and show you the glass door. They don't do like the hoses, they don't think weird. Otherwise they make the abstract pieces later, you know. Anyway, now, he's going to make for us a little piece here, this one here. Same color, I think. No? Yeah. Today we only have one master working because the other one, the older one, it's been glasses, sculptures, and all the other stuff, so we get around inside the showrooms, they're made together, you know? And generally masters are making little objects like figurines or animals or things like that. But they need 15 to 20 years time before becoming masters. That's why nowadays in Venice we haven't got many masters left still able to work glass by hand, but they started to use machines. But you know, machine-made glass almost because it's worked by hand. Temperature of the flame is around 1,200 centigrade degrees, and inside that oven we put the silicate, sand, salt, and potassium, which are the raw materials we need in order to make the glass. Then we have the smaller oven, as you can see there, on the left side, which is practically the annealing. You know, we need it in order. We started to make copies of this glass by machine nowadays. In Venice, having no schools, you know, and needing so many years before becoming masters, there are not many masters left still able to work glass by hand, not young people that want to start this job. Because imagine when you are 13 or 14 years old. When you go back home, maybe you can make the same one, huh? Inside a microwave oven. Maestro, me pasa un See? Looks like cellophane paper, but it's glass.
Addig a fényképezőt?
theology, the fall, the disobedience of Adam and Eve, and over my head, God rebukes Adam and Eve for their disobedience. He judges Adam and Eve and the serpent. He clothes Adam and Eve who are no longer innocent. And then he throws Adam and Eve out of the Garden of Eden. So the whole story of creation and the fall in this one most marvelous little dome. And then below in the great pandemic, men carry gifts to the altar of God. Then over the door of the Zen chapel, the anger of Cain, to whom God appeared. And then the murder of Abel. And over the door leading onto the piazza, you have an ark with birds and animals and Noah's family. Then across here again, across people go down, Noah sends forth the dove and the crow. The dove comes back with green in the cloud, showing that the trees are again above water. Then the water disappear altogether, and Noah is able to go.
This is where the floor is undulating. It dips right down there.
Guys, this way. Guys.
No striptease, eh?
Excuse me? Did you take that?
Hey?
We've been here before.
What's this building?
Gorgeous Palace.
He's on the first day. This one?
The prison. Old prison. Duncan, you should be in.
Duncan? Duncan?
Watch out for the wall now. Watch out for the wall.
Oh, really? How do you do it? How do you do
Oi, oi! Hey, no, only me, hey, oh!
Hellos. He's still going. He needs to go to the toilet. Go on. Scotty. Go on, you can.
Duncan, can you pass me my camera?
Too much incriminating stuff. Right about now. You decided not to. Too many part and
You like spaghetti? With tomato? No spaghetti, yeah. Hey, Luisa with me. And in the Laguna with Moo.
Are you lonesome tonight? Where to live?
Hey, spaghetti. Very, very catastrophic.
Duncan, do the lambada for us, mate. better picture from over here.
Scotty, wave, mate!
Whoa!
Sie, das müssen Sie erlebt haben. Das ist effektvoll.
Tree.
buildings of parliament in Austria is all the figures are seated, except for those with horses. So these are philosophers and thinkers, people of art. Coming up on the left, if you look up on the spire of the church, this is Volkschurch. On the top of the church, you have a family. He had an assassination attempt against him, and he survived. So his brother-in-law, Maximilian II of Spain, built this church in honor of this surviving the assassination attempt. Unfortunately, Maximilian II was assassinated shortly after. But this is in his honor. It's sort of Gaudi-esque. It's the same type of thing we sort of saw in Spain. On the right, this pink building is one of the many malls and stores. On the left is the monument to World War II. It was before, when the city walls were built, there's a story about Robin Hood. Robin Hood actually helped build the city walls because Leopold II, who was the 5th ruler in the Habsburg Empire, in about 1193, Richard the Lionhearted, the King of England, was traveling through Austria on his way back from the Crusades. He'd just come back from the Holy Lands from the 4th Crusade. And he was captured by Leopold. Now, Leopold demanded a ransom, and Richard the Lionhearted, being the strong man he was, said no. If you look over into the distance, you can see the Ferris wheel from the Prada. By the way, the Urania Theater is now just a movie theater. But this monument...
This is a war monument from Russia. The writing on the plaque says, "We will return," whereas the Austrians thought it was a gift of good fortune.
Marie Antoinette was married to a Habsburg.
This is the Parliament building in Vienna. Local Libby.
Other than that, it's a huge pedestrian mall.
Sondern die Erhaltung des Ergebnisses, der Hingabe, wie wir sie aus dem Leiden und Sterben Jesu lernen können. Er wird erst zum neuen Leben auferweckt, nachdem er sein bisheriges Leben ganz nach dem Willen des Vaters definiert. Und er hat nicht gekifft. Er hat weiter seine Botschaft verkündet, sei es gelegen oder ungelegen. Und er hat gewusst, so hat er es getan. Er hat sein Leben erlebt.
It's St. Stephen's Church. This is Mozart's actual floor where he walked.
Russia.
Beautiful. Oh.
This is where Mozart did his first concert.
Archduke of Austria, Queen of Hungary and Romania, and the Emperor was her husband
That is beautiful. Huh?
Yeah, best room in the whole place.
And the
Sorry.
This is Napoleon's room. His son died in that bed of tuberculosis at the age of 21. It's the Schönbrunn Palace.
Death. And what they used to do is the prisoners used to work down in the marble quarry below us, and they would have to carry the rocks up the steps and up the path that we just walked across. And you can see how difficult it was for us to walk across. Imagine doing it if you've been working from dusk till dawn, carrying a rock that size. You haven't had proper food for a couple of years. So some of the entertainment value was when the prisoners would be marching up row upon row to the beat of a drum. If one person would collapse under the weight of the rock and fall, he would send the rest of them down like dominoes, and this brought great pleasure to a lot of the guards. Another thing they would do, they would line up all the men, row upon row, and the ones behind would have to push the one ahead of them down into the water below, which would be instantaneous death.
That's where the people pushed off the cliff. Had to push each other down into the water.
I drove into the compound. I always had to sign a paper typed by them, saying what I had seen and what I had heard there. If I refused to sign it, I would be shot on the spot.
Johann Schwarz was 17 years old at the time. In a dictatorship, it is those who wield power who define the values. The National Socialists set up arbitrary classifications for the population, those who create civilization and culture and those who destroy them. They themselves are the creators. Hundreds of thousands who fall foul of the 1,000-year Reich for political, racial, or other reasons are dispatched to concentration camps. They become the victims of political terror, are interned indefinitely in the camps without trial. The first inmates of Mauthausen are the so-called criminals who are imprisoned although they have already served their jail sentences. They are followed by political internees from Germany and Austria, and after the outbreak of war, from the rest of Europe. The gates of Mauthausen close behind 200,000 people. The recipe is straightforward and could be applied to any of us. Your head is shaved, you are humiliated, starved, beaten, and kicked if you show the slightest resistance, and the dogs are set on you. And so you do what you're told, unthinkingly. In 1941, Spanish Republicans arrived at the camp. One of the survivors is Manuel Garcia.
When we arrived at the railway station in Mauthausen, the SS guards were waiting for us. We got out of the train and were lined up, and details of guards took up their positions to the right and to the left of us, and we were marched along the road through the village of Mauthausen to the camp. At the time, while we were marching along the road leading to the camp, on the left side of the road we passed the SS sentries, who sat there and shouted at us, bandits, criminals. When we got to the camp, we were totally horrified. It was a terrifying sight. The first people we saw were wearing convicts' uniforms, and then we saw others who were completely exhausted and so emaciated that they looked like skeletons. We marched past this tower here and were ordered to turn left in front of the number 1 barracks. They spread blankets out on the ground and told us to put all our clothes, jewelry, watches, and other possessions on the blankets. They took everything away from us, and we were stark naked. Then they shaved all the hair off our bodies and sent us into the shower rooms. After showering, each of us was given a convict's uniform, and we were taken to the barracks. Each morning when we woke up, we found dead prisoners here in the barbed wire fencing. People had thrown themselves into the wire in desperation, or had been driven into the fences by the SS.
As one country after another is invaded and occupied by Nazis, concentration camps are set up and opposition elements interned.
At the Mauthausen concentration camp in May 1942, with a group of Czech political prisoners. We were herded through the main gate, and an SS man explained to us that we were in a concentration camp. He pointed to where we had come in and said, "That's the way in." And then he turned round and pointed to the crematorium and said, "And that's the way home."
Wir haben gewusst, was gemeint hatte.
Life in the camp was unbelievably horrible. I find it difficult today to find words that could adequately describe the horrors. It defies description. They killed people like flies. Sometimes if they found someone just walking around, they'd hit him across the face so hard, he'd be knocked to the ground and he'd stop bleeding from his nose and mouth until he was dead.
He is due to arrive on a inspection tour, something he doesn't enjoy because it easily upsets his stomach. He is spared witnessing brutalities and instead hears about the economic viability of the Deutsche Stein Erde Company, the name given to the SS concern which runs the quarries of Mauthausen and Gusen. In the period from 1938 to 1943, this limited company increases its initial turnover of 133,000 marks by more than tenfold. Building materials are in great demand for the expansion of Berlin and for Hitler's massive construction projects. Business flourishes for the SS. The inspection tour is over. The visitors are satisfied. The prisoners are forced to contribute to the thriving of a system which is exterminating them.
What horrified us the most was the stairway of death. Once I was standing over there with the horses while we were picking up a load of gravel. I saw how they loaded the prisoners with huge stones. Then they were forced to start climbing up the steps. There were about 200 of them. They started climbing, but of course they were exhausted because they hardly got anything to eat. When they got part of the way up, one of them stumbled and fell backwards, knocking down all the others behind him. You can't imagine how it looked. The people and the stones came thundering down the steps like an avalanche. You have to have seen it with your own eyes to believe it. Nobody in his right mind could think it was possible.
Jahre 1942 habe ich diese
I first set foot on these steps in the year 1942. The weather was as fine as it is today, but how different it was then. We were hounded everywhere all day long, and then again later in the evening we were hounded back into the camp by the SS guards, who beat us. The worst time was the morning. The weaker prisoners sometimes stumbled and dragged the others down with them, while the SS men laughed.
Und die SS-Leute haben immer darüber gelacht.
These cliffs are witnesses of the barbarity of the SS people. I was working down here when we were suddenly ordered that we should move away.
Und auf einmal hat man gemeldet, dass wir weglaufen müssen.
Up at the top, we saw prisoners, a row of Jews, one behind the other, and the Jew at the back was forced to push the one in front off the cliff. They all fell head first, and if they didn't die of the fall, they fell into the water and were drowned.
Sind sie ins Wasser gefallen und sind ertrunken. Den habe ich später gehört.
Then he counted their ribs and gave each prisoner the injection.
Und die Spritze reingespritzt. Nach ungefähr 10
After about 10 seconds, he took the man's pulse, and he was dead.
Und der Mann war tot. Dann hat man
Then the body was dragged out, and the next prisoner was brought in.
While the Nazis keep quiet about the suppression of the internal enemy, their propaganda machine hails one military success after another.
In der großen Offensive haben die deutschen Verbände und ihre Verbündeten den Unterlauf des Don auf einer Breite von 200.
Death on industrial mass production lines. First, they kill handicapped children in the Renaissance Palace of Hartheim. Then, in April 1942, the gas chambers of Mauthausen go into operation. Sick internees, later Soviet prisoners of war. The gassing itself lasts only about 10 minutes, but it takes the squads of corpse bearers between 6 and 7 hours to remove the contorted bodies from the gas chamber. Today, pictures of the victims hang on these walls. On this stone table, the victims' gold teeth were extracted, collected, and processed. The bodies were incinerated in the crematoria. The unspeakable was committed behind closed doors. The SS prefers to murder in silence. Machine gun bursts are loud and could disconcert the local residents. The victims are tricked until the moment of their death. Panic is unseemly and untidy. The next of kin of victims from privileged nations are notified, and for a fee the ashes can be sent to them in an urn. All the bodies are burnt in this crematorium, individually at first, later up to 10 in a chamber. The prisoners who work as secretaries have to fill out the list to use people as guinea pigs. New drugs are tested. The manufacturers are generally aware of the experiments. There is no limit to the ingenuity of these programs. The camp prison, called the bunker. Here, lice are let loose on the inmates to try out antidotes. But the prison is mainly used to isolate inmates. The camp Gestapo tries to force confessions out of them. Half dead and beaten to pulp, they are kept under lock and key. Many end their lives here. The other cell walls are covered in messages voicing hope or mental tenacity, but the inscriptions here are a final monologue, speaking of surrender, despair, the imminence of death.
My God, why hast thou forsaken me? To acquiesce is to lie.
Graffiti like these were found on these walls after 1945.
If there is a God, you will have to beg my forgiveness.
These watchtowers are manned by the SS, the Schutzstaffel of the National Socialist German Workers' Party. They are told they are on combat duty, and many believe they are combating the internal enemy, whoever or whatever that may be. It is quite wrong to think of the SS guards as devils incarnate or as homicidal psychopaths. They are obsessed with a mania for order. They are meticulous about their uniforms. Their quarters are kept spick and span, and they enforce the regulations down to the last details during roll call, when the prisoners parade to be counted. For instance, even the dead, those who have been beaten to death, who have died of exhaustion, are counted at each roll call. In the cell blocks, the tables and chairs have to be exactly aligned, the walls have to be scrubbed, and they plant flowers round the domestic quarters. From dawn to dusk, they have prisoners leveling and sweeping the parade ground. Frequently, the SS men return to the camp at night drunk and determined to lick the pigsty into shape. Sick and elderly prisoners are regarded as useless mouths to be fed. If prisoners resist their extermination, they are derided as cowardly rascals who are deliberately undermining the order of things imposed by the SS. This order is their world. A world of uniforms, of marching and obeying orders, a world in which it is clear who belongs where. The garrison headquarters, nerve center of the bureaucracy of extermination. Franz Zierreis, commandant of Mauthausen, in civilian life a carpenter. His personal servant is a prisoner, Wilhelm Staszek.
Po provedenom ranním úklidu úřadovny
After the offices of the commandant and his adjutant had been cleaned, I had to stand here at the window and await further orders.
An important post, a source of information.
You want to know what sort of a man Commandant Zierreis was? He was moody, severe. On the one hand, he would caress his wife gently when she came here to visit him, and he was very nice to her. On the other hand, He gave orders to murder and to shoot the prisoners who lived here.
The senior SS men tended to lead unobtrusive middle-class control of German airspace. Armaments manufacture goes underground. A string of annex camps grows up around the main camps, as in Mauthausen. Melk on the Danube, one of the most barbaric satellite camps. Several companies are involved in the armaments program, which provides for the manufacture of ball bearings. At a murderous speed, a 7-kilometer shaft is excavated in the mountainside. The loss of life is horrendous. The abbot of Melk, Burkhard Edegast, recalls, to death.
Stand out in the open all day until the SS man came for roll call. Then we were shoved around again, beaten and hounded. When it rained, we had to lie down on the wet, muddy ground and make a human carpet so that the SS man didn't get his boots dirty. Then we were all counted.
Грязная дорожка, он выкладывал заключенных нас, людей, и по дорожке приходил эсэсовец и считал, сколько у нас есть наличий. Человек, попадавший в 20-й блок, он уже не считался человеком.
Anyone who was sent to Block 20 was no longer considered human in any way.
A desperate bid for freedom. On the night of February 2nd, 1945, they overpower the block guards and break out of the camp. It is a starry, cold winter night. The thermometer shows -8 degrees centigrade. The countryside is blanketed in snow. Some 75 exhausted prisoners stay behind in the cells.
Вы себе не можете представить, как трудно было взять эту стенку. Эта стенка имела 3,5 метра.
You can't imagine how difficult it was to climb over this wall. It was 3.5 meters high, and the wire was electrified. We had worked out an escape plan. There were 3 sentry towers. The first group had the job of overpowering the sentries on the lookout towers. The second group was to cause a short circuit with their blankets and their bodies, so that the lights went out in the camp. We arranged ourselves in rows and formed a human ladder so that we could climb over the wall. But there was a deep ditch behind it, and about 70 or 80 meters further on, another wall, although the barbed wire there wasn't electrified. We ran across and met up on the other side, but the SS were right behind us with their dogs and started shooting at us.
Many cover only 100 or so yards before collapsing with fatigue. The chase is taken up by the entire Mauthausen SS garrison, SA units from the Upper Danube district, members of the Nazi Party, army contingents, the militia, and the Hitler Youth Movement. The Mühlviertel rabbit hunt is on. The news that 500 dangerous convicts have escaped from Mauthausen camp causes alarm and fear among the local population.
I remember we had only just come home from a film. It was a moonlit night. We'd only been home a short while when we suddenly heard shots. I looked out of the window. My mother said, something terrible is going on out there. Then we saw the prisoners, dozens of them, and the SS were right behind them. They were shooting in our direction. We crouched down because the bullets were coming into our house, and the prisoners ran right up to the house. They broke in on the other side, pulled out the pots of lard and the potato meal, which my mother used for feeding the pigs, and they ate them. They were so hungry. Then we got up and got dressed. We couldn't sleep anymore. We were so terrified. We stayed awake all night. The SS hung around until the next morning and then shot all the prisoners they could lay their hands on. My mother said, if one of them turns up here, I will hide him. And she did. During the first night, we walked 8 kilometers and got as far as Schwertberg. By the second night, we had reached the village of Winden and hid in a hayloft, my friend Nikolai and I. We saw...
The situation is deteriorating rapidly. Prisoners who can still work are evacuated to Mauthausen from the abandoned concentration camps in the east. Mauthausen is the last camp to be liberated. Hans Marschalek, organizer of the prisoners' resistance movement in Mauthausen.
During the last days of Mauthausen, great nervousness and fear gripped the prisoners, but at the same time, hope. Throughout April, prisoners were killed. In April 1945 alone, more than 10,000 people died in this camp. Prisoners from Vienna, St. Pölten, and Linz were executed, and the ones that knew too much, the ones who possessed secrets. The last gassing took place on April 28th, killing prisoners from Upper Austria, who were Austrian resistance fighters. On May 2nd, crematorium workers in Mauthausen and Husen were executed. On May 3rd, shortly before the SS finally pulled out of the camp, they executed a civilian they had captured the previous day.
Hat die SS noch einen Zivilisten, den sie einen Tag vorher festgenommen haben, hinrichten lassen, erschießen lassen. Dann sind sie abgezogen.
Then they left, and the camp was guarded by the Vienna Fire Brigade.
Sie wussten, dass die Russen...
We knew the Russians were somewhere near St. Pölten, and we also knew that the Allies were on their way from the west, although we didn't know whether it would be the British or the Americans who would liberate the camp.
It is the Americans who on May 5th, 1945 liberate Mauthausen concentration camp. This film footage was shot at the time by American GIs. Will McMasters was with the first unit of the U.S. Army to enter Mauthausen.
My emotions, I think, were a shock and disbelief. It was hard to believe what they did. We had to bury them, and we buried 1,200. And it's hard to remember. So we just couldn't believe what had happened. Thousands of people starving to death, legs about this big. It's just something you can't talk about later on. At least I can't. I think we buried 1,200 the first day, then at the rate of 300 a day. Nothing we could do. They couldn't even eat. They were so weak. So my impression was just one sadness. Sadness for them and for their families.
those who recalled the horror of Mauthausen, so that this film...
This is where Mozart lived. No, where he was born.
Shoot you, mate.
Beautiful. You had to be starving to finish it, and I finished all of it. It was.
So the old man was stuck in the car.
Okie dokes, another joke.
We are now in Germany.
Isn't it pretty?
On the Autobahn. And someone's playing with my toe.
There's a hazy shade of winter. Hang on to your hopes, my friend.
That's it, full.
I didn't want to hear that, did you?
This is St. Michael's Church where the Glockenspiel is ready to go off.
Because you see the guy hitting the bell? On the left side?
This is the first residence of the Wittelsbach family. It's a medieval castle built in 1255. Medieval courtyard, sorry.
Oh gosh. This is the former main post office, built in 1838. Across from that is the Mint with the courtyard you can't see, and that was built in 15.
This is the Bavarian State Opera in the National Theatre, 1818. It was built as one of the leading opera houses of Bavaria. Moving on. That is the Munich Concert Hall. This is the Chem Hami Museum, obviously being rebuilt. What's the river called?
Isar.
Zwei werden jetzt rot, weil er
Many more preventative measures make these hazards. Corresponding techniques, ventilation measures, systems of early detection of fire, addressing themselves from
Yeah, I think you mean the red card. When you say, why don't you just shoot it? Just been used into the message in the sectors. Also the aircraft.
Au-dessus de l'espace supérieur. La prochaine présentation va commencer sous peu. Merci.
castle coming up straight ahead of us on the left. This is called Neuschwanstein Castle. And what this was, it was built by a man named King Ludwig just around the end of the 1800s. And he always loved beauty. He committed suicide by drowning himself in a lake just in the area.
Ja, aber das ist auch ein Bridge.
Wave to the people.
It was the treasurer. Oh, look, little kid. No other going. Oh, they should. Five.
Oi, dangin.
I know.
I'm used to this.
Duncan Teapot Head.
Now he's got to move and get to cross. Okay, number 6.
Hold on, no, don't do it. Do it, I can.
Oh, wait, shut up, shut up.
This is them preparing to leave.
Oh, really? Helmet on.
So if you're having trouble getting the boat, someone can't get in, help them in by grabbing points here on the shoulders, the back. Don't grab the helmet, don't grab them underneath your arms, you can actually dislocate on the shoulder really easy. Don't stick your fingers up the nose and pull them in like that. Okay? So what you do, you grab hold of the points, okay, like that, big pull up, and she's in. Oh, one end, that's that line coming, throw the other end, nice press on the bag, floats on the surface of the water, okay? When you've got this, hold on to it with one hand. Brian, you ready? Okay, let's take it easy. Okay, just walk the boat into the water and stop.
Who's that? Oh, she already gone.
in. Yeah, everybody. Ciao.
Oh, you're going to go in there?
Lincoln's top.
Things you can do tomorrow is you can go out on the Hosal chairlift. That'll take you up the mountain. You can take it.
You send up, you take this off tonight.
Excuse
yeah,
you.
in your makeup.
Hello, Duncan.
In your makeup, eh?
Stuart, being a real macho punk. Someone's just rubbing my ass.
Bill!
It's Bill. Bill the nerd. Look at those pants. What a sexy devil. Kerry? What are you going as tonight, Kerry? And here we have a pregnant Angela. Look at that baby. And here, oh, there's my
get away!
darling.
No.
What are you going as, Angela? Andrea?
I don't know yet. You look great. This doesn't look pro enough.
You look like a pro.
Do I?
Yes.
I need fishnets though.
Campbell? What a sex. Show us your knickers.
Okay, Edge. Yeah. Can I borrow some design on a pencil?
Here we have Nerd Bill again.
Here's one, Kim.
Wave to the camera, boys. We do that again.
Take your top off, Kim. Let me try my brow on. Mwah.
And here's Patricia. Going in terribly bad taste, which is how she dresses all the time. And so very impressive.
And Mrs. Duncan, fully clothed, as you can see. Turn around. Hold on, close up. Close up.
The lipstick.
I need a black one to take. Who's got black one?
The lipstick.
I have.
Totally.
I've lost a shoe.
Excellent.
That's nice.
That looks good. Okay, Rick, stand next to Aaron, please.
And here's little Bill again.
Oh, he's got bigger tits than me.
Okay.
I mean, shit.
Can you three stand together?
Look at the shade.
Can you three?
You're gonna have a hassle coming out tomorrow.
Carl, he is going as a... No, Jenny is in the way. Now here's Carl, going as a stripper. Show it's love.
Mate, it's not a stripper, I'm a pressure. But I'm having stripper because I'm an experience.
Whoa! Oh!
Tell him
going as?
This is Sue.
This is
and this is Flower.
Sue, sexy Sue with his, oh.
I need to make.
And there's Mark in the background doing that.
Look, get a tang. Oh, come on, bit of tang.
Come here.
No.
Come here, little boy.
No, I don't want my. Oh, Aaron, you wuss, buddy, go over there, will you? I've taking my hair all night. Ooh, look at his face.
He doesn't like it. Aaron, come here.
This is in Hopfgarten. Today we're cycling around the local neighbourhood. Such a wonderful place. Like that.